Are we missing anything from that multi-hyphenate?
I also have a podcast.
Oh, right. Podcaster. Design
can
Life
you let us
FM.
have one thing, Charlie? Jesus Christ.
All right, well, I'll leave.
You just do the show.
Oh, you're really committing to this bit, huh?
Overcommitting.
Welcome to Sad Boyz, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
And I'm Jordan. Brush that dirt off your shoulder, Cope.
Are you Jay-Z now?
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
excited about the new record.
It's good.
I'm celebrating.
We're joined by a guest today, Charlie Marie.
That's me.
Whoa, it rhymed. Holy shit.
Okay, episode's peaked. Stop watching now. We
This
made
has
it.
been the Sad Boyz. Thanks for joining us.
To end every episode with a particular phrase.
Yeah, we'll see you next week where we talk to no one because apparently we don't have guests anymore because we've peaked.
We're perfect.
Charlie Marie, you join us here in Anaheim.
On this bed.
On the customary Sad Boyz bed. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The best episodes of Sad Boyz are recorded in a shared hotel bed.
Absolutely correct. And the very first, which many other people say is where we peaked.
It's
Yeah, episode one.
True. Mostly me. That's where I say we peaked.
Yeah.
Charlie is joining us today to talk about overcommitting, taking on too much work. Now, Charlie, you do a lot of different things.
Yeah, one could say that I overcommit. Yeah.
One could, I mean,
And
give yourself a little
You
slack.
wouldn't, to clarify. She would never say that
I
in case
say-
her managers are watching.
Yeah, I would say that I'm fine and I've perfectly bitten off as much as I can chew.
But any professional would say that I have overcommitted.
So Charlie, I can't think of you in any way other than like a multi-hyphenate. You're a designer.
Mm-hmm.
You are a YouTuber. I feel like design is such a broad term, but you like within design, you're like doing print stuff. You're doing digital stuff. You've made. Do you still have a t-shirt company?
Yeah, I do. I don't talk about it much anymore, but that is still a thing. Yeah.
I remember things.
It's a real knock to your self-esteem when somebody has things on the back burner that dramatically outclass anything you've worked your life at.
Right.
Just a casual t-shirt company in the background.
Right, and you're the CEO of Google, like just on the side. I don't often talk about that, but
That's every other Sunday.
right, yeah. Just got to put in the work, the old ball and chain, and trillions of dollars.
Are we missing anything from that multi-hyphenate?
I also have a podcast.
Oh, right, podcaster, design
Can
Life
you let us
FM.
have one thing, Charlie? Jesus Christ.
All right, well, I'll leave.
You just do the show.
Oh, you're really committing to this bit, huh?
We're overcommitting.
Oh, we've had some good segues today. You have a podcast.
I have a podcast. It's about design also.
What's it called?
It's called Design Life. Very, unique name.
Straightforward.
How do you think of that?
It's great.
Well, we thought we wanted to talk about life as designers.
I'm not seeing the connection.
Great. So I'm seeing a very, very simple mood board. 2 words. How do we get them to life design? No.
You were life design for the first 500 episodes.
Then we were like, wait, it makes better sense if we swap it around.
Right.
Yeah.
It does take time to, iterate.
You were boys sad to start with, right?
We were
Yeah.
boys.
Boys, comma interrupted.
Right. There's actually a podcast somewhere with 5,000 episodes called Boys Sad. And we finally turned that around, literally and figuratively, into the Sad Boyz. So we'll be talking about overcommitting. But first, Charlie, how's your week?
Week has been busy. Vidcon is a thing that I'm sure you've talked about in past episodes of this podcast.
Yeah, we are at VidCon.
Yeah.
We're in Anaheim. We're in a hotel room in the Hyatt Convention Center, which is where VidCon folks primarily are staying.
Yeah.
So there's tons of... We were like in the elevator with David Dobrik when we came up and made fools of ourselves by accident.
And he didn't recognize us, which seems weird.
Rude.
Yeah, and then Brigand, who was on the previous episode, worked on the streamies with David Dobrik, and he's like, he doesn't recognize me. It's just this is a serious event. All right.
We should say one of my... I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
For both of you, actually, because you YouTube, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're tubers. You're tubing.
Kind of myself as a... Okay, fine. Go
So
ahead.
right outside of the Hyatt Hotel, which as you mentioned is where all of the creative talent that are attending VidCon is staying, the security you can only get in if you are industry or creative talent. there is a little grassy knoll, not unlike the JFK assassination.
Right.
And Lee Harvey Oswald's there. But in addition, there is a big collection of like 13-year-old kids.
That's an interesting way to group them. A big collection.
Yeah, sorry, a murder of 13-year-olds.
Right.
All
like
sat on the grassy knoll.
Like I opened my Pokedex and I saw there's a large collection of 13-year-olds.
I remember when there were only 151 13-year-olds.
Yeah. And now there's God knows how many. 900?
One of them's made of trash. But yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. Have any of those 13-year-olds shouted at you? They're all there to spot talent.
No.
Though when I was coming to this hotel, because Charli and I are actually staying in an Airbnb that's a bit away from here, pretty close, but like just enough to get out of the hustle and bustle of things. My Uber driver was like, "Oh, they're all here to see you," like as a bit, but he like committed really hard to the bit. So as I'm getting out of the car, he's like, "He's here, ladies." And I'm like, why are you doing this? And then he continues to commit as I walk past his car, and he's like, they're happy to see you. And I'm like, drive away. There's another person for you to embarrass.
He drove into the lobby to continue this line with a wig on and started going,
Jarvis! He like just drives through the window. Flying car. We are on the 6th floor. But yeah, VidCon... So, it's busy, but how's your VidCon going? Now, you are working while also VidConning.
Yes, I did not take vacation for VidCon because we have a big conference coming up at the company I work for next week. So that meant that there was a lot to do.
Yeah.
So basically, I was getting up early and working till like 3 p.m.-ish on the Thursday and Friday, and then coming to do VidCon. So hence, overcommitting as the topic.
Yeah.
Was that part of the motivation for that topic?
Yeah, I think I messaged Jarvis because I was we were talking about VidCon and our plans for the week.
And it's funny because I think we both have the. I mean, even this very action right now could be seen as overcommitting. We could be enjoying the convention, or
like having a nap or something.
Or having a nap, which is something that Jordan likes to say that he wants to do, but has never actually functionally done.
Yeah, I'm also working full time while I'm here because again, work for Patreon. The work that I do doesn't really stop ever. If I can stop doing it, but the creators don't stop talking to me.
Right.
So I've been working my entire time here, and obviously this is a major work opportunity for business development. So I'm taking a lot of meetings, doing a lot of stuff, sending a lot of emails. I finished the 3-day work grind about 25 minutes before we did our first episode of Sad Boyz in this double.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, which to me indicates that I love this show and I like doing it, is that it wasn't really a question. It wasn't like, normally I would rather watch 90 Day Fiancé than do anything else in the world.
Right.
In this particular occasion, I put it on pause.
Yeah. No, I think I really think about overcommitting a lot because I'm someone who doesn't want to say no to any opportunities.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I currently am in a situation where I produce and am talent on this podcast. I do my YouTube channel. I have my own job. And
your own job.
My own job.
My stupid old job.
And then I find myself doing things that going out of my way to I take all those things very seriously also. Mm-hmm. And I find myself in situations where Jordan's job involves him traveling for meetings and stuff. And so me sort of in a weird mix of work and play will fly to the place that Jordan is in order to get in the Sad Boyz episode. But then maybe I can help out at a meeting or I could be helpful in a work context. And it's this isn't in my job description, but it's also, not required of me for personal stuff either. So I have somehow found myself in that situation. So how do we get there? Jordan, how's your week been?
It's nice. I like the vibe of VidCon. I haven't seen very much of it. I got to go on the show floor once, and that was for a different meeting, and I came straight back to the hotel. There's something nice about ambient bustling. It's nice to know that lots of people are having fun and that there are exciting conversations happening, and the fanboy in me enjoys the occasional peripheral vision of a Hannah Hart, But at the same time, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have the temptation to just bump my flight up yesterday. I'm glad that I didn't. We have the Patreon's throwing a party tonight, which is the main reason I stuck around.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I met with a bunch of really exciting people, and I'm glad that I did. But
also you're tired.
I'm an introvert in my base, and even staying in a hotel room for me even by myself, does not serve as downtime. It serves as, I always feel like I'm performing in my hotel room. I'm like, this is how a normal human would use a towel. Now you at home, I like lick it and throw it on the ground and then walk around nude, throw my cat in the washer. Like I'm just a garbage person, and that's important. I have to be trashed for long periods of time.
I honestly, like, let's just jump into the topic. I identify with that so much. So how do we even define overcommitting? Because it's in the name, right? It's like committing is a thing you can do, and then overcommitting, that's too much. But how do you define what too much is?
I think sometimes you don't know it until you're already, until it's too late.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I find anyway. Although lately I feel like I've been noticing some things that I say yes to. I'm like, really? Should I be doing that?
Yeah.
And I have the moment of questioning, and I still try and do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's when it's too much. You know you're committing to too many things. You can't be a sane human and get all this done. Something's got to give. Usually it's your sanity or your mental health or something.
Yeah. It's like my thing that's given is that I've eaten kind of like shit for the past year, and I haven't worked out as much as I would like. And so that's what's fallen by the wayside.
Yeah. Those are the L's.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maintenance is the L, really. Like personal maintenance and general keeping yourself at a neutral standard of living is the first thing to go. Because, for example, on Thursday night, completely burned out from the first full day of VidCon.
Right.
I decided to relax by editing my podcast till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
That was my little treat. And I did not intend to, but I think the issue, quite honestly, is when you do something that you love, and there are other things that you love that require just as much commitment and just as much grind, it's not unlike having kids and a job. Because you're like, well, I do my job because I have to. There's no question. I have to make my money. I have to be stable.
Right.
I also want to do this thing that doesn't pay me, but I love it so much that I have to spend time with it. I want to be a good dad to my D&D podcast. And as a result, I end up spending many, many hours of quality time with it, thus compromising my
You have to drop it off
rest.
at school.
I have to drop it off at school.
Yeah.
I print out the scripts. I just put it in a school.
Yes. And then you just go back to the school, and kids are now acting out your script.
Which is an honor, frankly. I find a lot of great acting talent in that room.
Yeah.
How much of overcommitting do you feel is the result of chronic FOMO? And one thing I want to clarify about FOMO, I think so often it gets associated with like petty, petulant FOMO. Like, I wish I was there, but it can just...
I wish I was at Chipotle right now. By the way, which is what I actually used to have FOMO about in high school. My friends...
Sorry.
Well, okay. So when I was in high school, I still don't have a driver's license. And I lived in a town where you kind of needed to drive around. Right. And so I would have friends pick me up, and
they wouldn't take you to Chipotle?
Well, okay. I would have to have friends pick me up, or I would have to have like my aunt take me somewhere in her car. And so what would happen sometimes is I wouldn't be able to like go to things because my aunt would just like say no or something. And
she's going to Chipotle.
Yeah.
A different one.
Yeah. And what would end up happening is I would see photos on Facebook of like my friends going to Chipotle, and I would feel like, wow, like it looks like I'm missing out on so much. And I still like feel like I feel bad about those times, but I know for a fact I wasn't missing out on shit. You know?
I think grilled chicken's pretty good.
Yeah. But mostly the interpersonal dynamic. That was what I was thinking about. But also the rice.
In that order.
Right.
Chicken, interpersonal connections, and an ability to connect with other human beings.
Rice,
yeah.
Spanish rice.
Yeah, Spanish rice.
How about you, Charli?
I don't know. I don't think it is about FOMO for me. Like you just said, you're an introvert. I am too. So I can be quite happily go days without seeing other people, apart from my partner Mark that I live with, and be fine with that. For me, it's about wanting to help people and wanting to like be good at what I'm doing. So I always overcommit at work, like just within my job.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this person needs this, and I'm like, oh, I know how to make that great. Like this is like the thing I can do. Let me help with that.
FOMO of opportunities.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. And also fear that something will be bad if I don't insert myself into it.
Right. There's a lot to unpack there.
Okay.
But I guess my answer to your question, Jordan, is like, for me, what drives me is like being far away from a goal. Like if I'm distant from a goal, I'm like falling over myself trying to do everything I can possibly do to reach that goal at any moment. So if I'm I don't know, trying to start a YouTube channel. It's like, I need to like do the things, and I need to like do the art, and I need to do these tutorials, and I need to buy this equipment. It's like I'm just like everything I need to do. Or first time when I was playing Hearthstone, the video game, I was like constantly like watching people play the game. I was constantly playing the game myself because I wasn't reaching the level that I wanted to get at, and I was just like spending all of my time investing my time in stuff that I thought would help me get there. So I have two questions, one of which is related to something that Charli said, and we can start with that, and then the other one is not, because that's how I set that up. So first, Charli, you said that sometimes you're afraid that if you don't have a hand in something, then it's going to be bad. Do you think that your overcommitting has to do with like, instead of a fear of missing out, a fear of like relinquishing control?
Yeah, that's probably part of it. Yeah, for sure. I find it hard to let go of things and to not do things. Like with my YouTube channel, for example, I could probably hire an editor by now.
Yeah.
But yet I still edit my own videos, apart from the odd vlog that I get my sister to edit. But
Right.
yeah, it's having control over those things, and also just knowing that I think I'd rather myself have the burden and like the suffering than make someone else do it.
Yeah.
So we're a very small company, ConvertKit, where I work. There's only 3 designers on the team, and I know that they're both slammed as well. And so I'm like, well, I'll just take this on. I won't ask them to try and fit it in, you know?
Yeah. I think I also take one for the team a lot. How about you, Jordan? Like, where do you think your desire to overcommit or your instinct
I'm ready to delegate difficult things to other people as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I really don't want to make anybody else's life easier. The main reason I would do anything is for my own opportunities. And
Right.
if I can inconvenience somebody in the process, it's all the better.
Yeah.
Positivity and happiness is a zero-sum game. And when other people are happy, that's less happy for me. So
Yeah. No,
Well,
this is a rare moment of truth for you. We're getting a peel behind the curtain.
I don't know. Where does it come from?
Yeah, for you, or where do you see it coming from?
I think your Hearthstone example's an interesting one, because often when I find something that I'm legitimately passionate about, even at its peak, even at my most excited, it happens in waves.
Yeah.
A lack of my number one flaw, I will very openly say, is a lack of consistency. That affects my job, my interpersonal relationships, my exercise, everything. I'm not,
Right.
I am so good at doing something very well 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And frankly, in many aspects of my life, it would be better to do it 50% worse 100% of the time.
Yeah.
That would actually be fine. Sometimes I overcommit in the quality of things that I put out.
Right.
Bursts that aren't convenient for anybody else.
Yeah.
Now, the main reason for that is honestly kind of unknown. That's just my natural pattern. That's the sine wave that I happen to ride. But the ways I've tried to deal with it and the ways that I want to try and get better at are generally I'll drift towards tasks that I can do unconsciously. And I will commit myself to those tasks without even hesitating.
Right.
Somebody says to me, okay, we need to take X number of additional meetings with creators in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, great. Meetings with creators is my strong suit. I feel very comfortable getting in a room and getting to know people.
Yeah.
Set every single one of them up.
Right.
And then somebody reaches out and go, hey, we organized like a joint party this weekend and you're not going to be here. I'm just like, oh, sorry. I didn't even consider that this thing could impact the rest of my life. It's just more stuff. Fill up my workload. Fill up my bucket. Which is a really unhealthy mindset because for one, it makes you seem inconsiderate when well, I guess you are being inconsiderate, but not in a mean way. You're literally not considering the impact of you taking on lots of small things.
Yeah.
Whereas I can be overly protective of my time when it comes to things that ultimately would be very positive for me.
Right.
Like a vacation is a classic one. People invite me on a location. Invite me on a vacation for a location. And I'll just respond with, it's too big. I don't care where it is, when it is, or who it's with. That's a big thing. Yeah. And if I commit to that, it's going to take up all of my time. Yeah. I kind of liken it to if I get home. I still haven't watched Stranger Things season 2. It's a great, it's a massive void in my pop culture understanding. Right. I get home every single day and I watch 4 hours of YouTube videos. Yeah. I can absolutely watch Stranger Things, but I always get home and go, do I want to commit myself to one 40-minute episode? Yeah. Am I really ready to do that?
Yeah, I'm ready to micro-commit to a bunch of 5-minute videos.
And that's the danger too, because so often if you do micro-commit to stuff, and we can take the creator meeting example out of it, just any series of hour-long commitments that you bulk your life up with, chances are the thing you're going to walk away with from those 1 hour or 1 hour things is not going to be nearly as valuable as that
Right.
one big 10-hour thing.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to learn the skill of chunking the 10-hour thing into 1-hour things so that you can do it, because I think, at least in my experience, this has like been studied, but the way that the reason that it's more attractive to like watch a Stranger Thing, or the reason that it's more attractive to watch a 5-minute YouTube video than like a 40-minute episode, is because you like you fear commitment, and it like. You're like, well, like 40 minutes. Yeah. What am I going to do? Stop in the middle of the episode? I have to commit. And it's like, what if I get texted and I need to respond to that? It's like all these things that you build up that aren't actually real things can prevent you from starting. And that's like a very, very harmful thing to sort of be at the service of.
I find the small things are what puts me over the, like, fills my bucket up too much.
All the small things?
All the small things.
True care, truth brings.
Not because, like, I'd rather do them than a big thing, but because I'm like, oh, it's just a small thing. Surely I can fit that in. Like, that's easy.
I have a question, which is like, I feel like if I'm being honest with myself, my desire to overcommit is actually like coming from a place of like bad planning and prioritization.
Oh, misprioritization. Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah.
Bad planning and like lack of ability to scope things is mine.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, this is the misery that waves over Jordan at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday when he has just watched 4 hours of Let's Plays when he could have watched one Scorsese movie and been very happy. And then taken an evening to really mull on all of the events and think about the characters, as opposed to, wow, every single one of those Let's Play videos, top notch, don't remember any of the content. It was just popcorn. And that's what tasks can sometimes be.
Right.
Popcorn tasks that feel good in the moment and feel like you're being impactful, but ultimately you just lost hours.
Yeah. I experience the planning part of it in two ways. There's like the lack of foresight, which is when I've since learned that this is like very common in people with ADHD, but like I have two modes. Something is either happening now or it's happening later.
To a different Jarvis.
So it's like I can stuff a million things in later, and then they all hit me at the same time, and I'm like, whoa, I'm overwhelmed. No one could have seen this coming.
Who did this?
Yeah. And then now it's like it satisfies the Jarvis, I needed you to fill in for this interview last minute. Oh, interview. It's like an hour call. It's like a thing easy for me to do. It has like these like discrete inputs and outputs, and I don't have to like, it just happens. And then there's I guess it's also related to planning and foresight, but it's the lack of consideration of priorities. So like, what are my goals when I'm deciding to watch 4 hours of YouTube videos rather than watching a television show that will give me social value that I'll want to like talk to my friends about. And really I'm just like sort of BuzzFeed is just blaring into my eyes and I'm like falling asleep or whatever. Like,
yeah, you have one of those apparatuses from Clockwork Orange that keeps your eyes open.
Yeah,
and you try and absorb as much Try Guys as possible.
Yeah, exactly. I just have Zay Frank like holding my eyes open and feeding me BuzzFeed soup. But yeah, I don't know. That resonates with either of you.
Did we figure it out?
What were we figuring out?
We're gonna fix overcommitment. That's the goal.
Oh, I don't know if we're gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I think like I think now we have to turn the corner on. We've identified the problem.
Right. What are we gonna do about it?
What are we gonna do about it?
And now specifically, what is Charli gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Because we've overcommitted to other projects. We don't have time to resolve this.
Right.
So it's all on me.
Charli, you only have the 4 companies.
Yeah.
So you can probably
Yeah,
find
you
the
have
time.
the fewest number of companies, and this is an intervention.
I think another situation and why I find myself overcommitting as well is because even if I am planning and scoping things or whatever, I'm thinking about fitting them in an ideal scenario.
Yes.
When I'm in perfect health,
Yeah.
when nothing else is like coming up randomly and like, everything is fine.
You're not giving yourself the flex time.
Yeah, I have zero margin that I put in my life.
Yeah. So the zero margin thing is interesting to me. I remember, so recently I had to make this decision to stop doing improv comedy because I was doing YouTube stuff, I was doing podcast stuff, I had my job, and then I was also on a team that performed like weekly at a show, and I had to do practices and stay in the loop for all the things. And technically, all of those things fit on my calendar.
Exactly.
But that was super misleading because in practice, the lack of the margins, the lack of space in between meant that I was super irritable about sort of when things drifted, and I started to get very like upset when things did not go according to schedule, because the schedule was set out to only be achievable if everything went according to plan, which we know most things don't go according to plan.
Especially when most of the things on your calendar are some of the most hectic and like potentially toxic things imaginable. A project, regardless of what it is a thing that can go wrong at any moment. That's what defines the fact that it's a thing you're working on.
You've essentially, I will speak for just myself. I had essentially organized a schedule that goes, well, you're going to flip a coin and then it's going to land on heads. And then for the next hour, you flip a coin and it needs to land on heads. And then you just do that. And then you realize, like, when you multiply all those things together, the percentage chance of that happening is like minuscule.
And every time something fails, you jump from a flipped coin to like a D6 and then a D20.
Yeah.
How the hell am I going to finish this?
Exactly. And then I'm also like getting more and more upset at what is probabilistically a fact of, like, it's probabilistically guaranteed to happen. I'm guaranteed to be upset. And so now I'm looking at a schedule that, like, this is going to upset you and make you sad.
Yeah. And it's really hard to, maybe the two of you are better at this than I am, but it's something I'm working on at the moment, which is to get comfortable looking at a relatively empty schedule with something very impactful, dead at the center, with the I'll speak specifically to creative projects, if only because working in a startup, you don't have a lot of agency over other things, other events. But let's say that you have a Saturday and you want to achieve X and Y creative things.
Yeah.
I have the terrible habit of saying, well, first of all, I assume I'm going to have a fantastic night's sleep on Friday. Nothing ever goes wrong there. My insomnia never hits then, I've decided.
Right.
And then I book something at 9 a.m. I say 9 a.m., go straight to the gym. 11:30 specifically, once I've finished my tricep reps, I'm going to shoot right over to Phil's. Then I'll have my coffee ready. There'll be no delay. They'll have almond milk. And then once I have my perfect Phil's at the right temperature that just happens to hit me the right way, I will then head home at my desk. The sun won't be blaring in my eyes. I've decided it's going to be at a different location.
Yeah.
And I will begin writing. I will finish writing at 1. That's the time I need. If, as you say, if any of those things go wrong, you screw it up. So I've started defaulting to this idea of, instead of putting it on my calendar, I literally just write on my whiteboard, podcast. D&D podcast is the thing you make progress with today. Set some goals, set some, ideate ways where you know you'll feel satisfied at the end. Like, you have produced 45% of a finished episode. Great, that'll feel satisfying.
Yeah.
As soon as I say, like, you will complete 45% of an episode, including 4,000 words of the script,
right,
this amount of the edit, it just is too overwhelming, especially since often if we're working on this on the weekend, we're knackered because it's Saturday.
End of the week,
Yeah, and that term means tired for the American
I
listeners.
understood it.
You think it means tired? That's so embarrassing.
So
Awkward.
I think that a technique that I use, and I think that's like a really useful one, which is just keeping your eye on the prize, but like not making the goals like overly specific, which is a thing that you could use in your life as well. I just on my calendar like to leave room for the maybe I actually plan out the time that's like, hey, chill the fuck out, like for this time. And then the other thing I do is affirm that I have actually been productive. I think I'm very doubtful that I have experienced productivity when I go like, all I did today was like record a podcast and edit a video and write a script. Like I just didn't also get to writing a second script. And it's like, and then it's like, listen to yourself. It's like, you also need to eat meals and like talk to your friends and like
sleep.
Just because you like something doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah. And so I think that like sort of verbally affirming yourself that you are, most people on a weekend don't do one thing. And that's like blows my mind. Like, and it's not a competition. But like when you're at work and stuff and you're like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? And it's like, I just chilled out, like had some friends over watching Netflix. And I'm just like, right. That's
what
a
it's
thing you
for.
can do.
It's literally the elder gods of society have hereby decided that 2 days of doing nothing is required to stay alive.
Yeah.
To continue doing a work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You need to not do anything for 2 days. We have a mutual friend, Bremner.
Yes.
Shout him out. I'll call you out, Bremner.
Hey.
Bremner has chronic socialization. every single weekend he will go out and he'll hang out with people and he'll have a great time.
Right.
But the dude is also busy as hell
Yeah.
and exercises constantly and is in fantastic shape and has great health.
Yeah.
But is maintaining all of those things all of the time.
Right.
And every now and again I'll just go like, Brennan, what did you do this weekend? And I'll cross my fingers behind my back like, was it binge Netflix? Please let it be binge Netflix. And I go like, I didn't do anything on Sunday. I'm like, yeah, but rested.
But it's like, I've felt this as well, because people are like, oh, I wish I had my thing like you do. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is not like glorious. This is just like, this is something I feel compelled to do.
Right.
Yeah. We're taking our diabetes medicine.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like, I'm describing like, I flipped all these coins because I needed to. And luckily a couple of them were heads and a few were tails. And that made me upset. It's like, oh, I wish I was flipping coins. It's like, I was just watching Netflix. It's, no, I should have been rested.
I was just kissing my wife.
Yeah.
Who loves and adores me. Charli, do you have anybody in your life that encourages you to do less?
Yes. My boyfriend Mark is always encouraging me to do less. It's actually really good. Since we moved in together a couple of years ago now, I no longer work on my side projects in the evenings. Like, that's like hanging out time, doing
That's
nothing
great.
time.
Yeah.
I do often wake up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock and do stuff in the morning instead before
Yes.
work.
Oh yeah.
But,
We had a whole video about that.
Yeah, but I used to also then do it in the evenings as well, and that's not healthy.
That is literally addict behavior.
Yes.
It's literally, no. I'm going to stop drinking and I'm only going to drink in the mornings instead of the evenings. And they're like, okay. But you're just doing both. This is far worse than the thing that was happening before.
Yeah.
I had an appointment with my psychiatrist because I take medication for my ADHD, and they were still keeping tabs on things and seeing how everything's going. And I was it's just so funny when you say it. I was like, yeah, so I wake up in the morning around 5 or 6 and I do some work, and then I go into my actual job. And then in the evenings I'm just so exhausted and I can't get any work done. And she's like, yeah.
I have this chronic fatigue from approximately 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. I just can't keep my eyes open.
Yeah. It's and she's like, yeah, that's kind of the thing.
I get so hungry 3 times a day.
It's weird.
I also feel lucky though to have people in my life, just mostly friends. Jordan's good about this, and who remind me that I'm doing just fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so bad at seeing that because I think for me and the way that I imagine my work, I don't feel like I'm building a reservoir. I feel like I'm on a day-to-day basis, filling a tank. And it's the next day,
The tank is empty and you've got to fill it up
completely
again.
empty. And it's I have nothing to my name. It's shut the fuck up, dude. It's
Yeah.
you've got all these things. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to see that. And it helps to have people reminding me that it exists.
Yeah, and I think you have to step back from it to even appreciate that sometimes, So I have a standing desk in our living room is where I work from because I work remotely.
That's where you step back.
Yeah.
That allows you to step back.
No, sometimes
I stand on the top of the desk, I step back and I fall and I knock myself out and I finally sleep.
Yeah, sometimes Mark will literally come and drag me away from my laptop in the evenings. He'll be like,
Aw.
okay, we're going to watch a movie now. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me just one more. Nope, okay.
Seems like it'd be easier to just pick up the laptop.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
some critical feedback from Mark.
Then I have to unplug from the screen and, it's a whole thing.
You can do that very slyly though.
Yeah.
You're like, you're still waiting. We had power cut.
Weird.
Every day at 6 p.m. Oh, well, actually, that's interesting in your case because you work from home, which
Right.
means that there's no visual or atmospheric
Yeah,
delineation between work and play.
Yeah, which I think is contributing to a lot of the overwhelm I'm feeling lately is because I spend 90% of my time in the living room of our apartment.
Yeah.
That's where I relax. That's also where I eat. That's where I do my
Right.
work. It's too much. We're about to move into a 2-bedroom apartment later this year, which I think will help so that I can have an office to close the door on
Yeah.
work for the day.
I remember when I was in college and I used to do a lot of work from my dorm room, and people I got advice that I should not do that because when your place of work and your place of rest are the same thing, it can do it can do really bad things to you. And so I try to do that. I guess I work from my room a lot, but I work from my desk.
Yep.
And it's if I'm in my living room or if I'm in my bed and stuff, I don't typically take work. I've never really edited a video from bed, for example.
It's so dangerous.
Yeah. Because then it just the response, as if you were one of Pavlov's dogs. It's like this situation, this stimulus now produces like you now salivate, right? That's like now you should do the thing. And if you don't want to do the thing because you're like, I'm tired, then suddenly you feel guilty for no reason.
It's half the reason an office even exists.
Yeah.
Or at least like a workspace.
Yeah.
You want your brain to trigger instincts. You want to activate certain schemas so that when you walk into your bedroom, suddenly your eyes get heavier.
Yeah.
When you walk out of your front door and you hear the hustle and bustle and traffic, you activate like, time to be a human. I better put on clothes. And then you go back inside, put on clothes because you work from home, you forgot to do this.
Right.
I do think it's very telling that the one person that works from home is currently wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
And some dope sweatpants, I will say.
Yeah.
Did you make these also?
No.
Do you also have a sweatpants?
I cannot
company?
sew, unfortunately. Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting question. Are there any skills or hobbies that you have either stopped pursuing or never started because you're aware that they're just going to be a drain in the near future?
Yeah, I have a problem with every hobby that I start turns into like a side business in a
Yeah.
way.
Well, one day you wore a t-shirt and you were
And then
like,
I was like,
this
this is fun.
could
Yeah.
really be something.
Wow. Yeah.
No,
Think
it's-
of the possibilities.
Like I'll be like, oh, I could design this thing and then I could do this with it and it could build to this. And like my mind works that way. But I recently, when I was in Japan, we were talking about Japan earlier and how Jordan hasn't been there.
but we have Japan friends.
But
Glad
when,
that got on the episode. No, that was good because otherwise it would have been
yeah,
nice
otherwise
for me.
no one would have known. Yeah.
Tomodachi. That's friends in Japanese.
Yeah, she probably knew that.
You wouldn't know that. Anyway, while I was there, I picked up a Nintendo Switch, and that's been pretty fun for me to just play this little game called Stardew Valley, where you have like a farm and
Put it
there's
there.
villages. You play it too?
yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't play Stardew Valley. You live that
exist in
shit.
it, yeah.
You play your regular 9-to-5 life
Yeah.
in order to justify time with your waifu.
Right. See, I'm not going to start, already my brain is thinking I could start a Let's Play channel or something with it. That's
Oh
not
my God,
me.
yeah.
That's not something I
Dangerous.
would do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is just a hobby for me. It's just a relaxation thing. And it's nice to have something. It's like that and watching television. It'd be nice to have something that doesn't involve a screen, probably. I'd
Yeah.
probably work
Yeah.
on that. But yeah.
I really identify with what you said. For me, instead of like business, it's just
Projects.
competing.
Yeah, okay.
Competing about like I'm just competitive about it's like every game I've ever played I've competed at. It's like I used to play competitive Guitar Hero, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Hearthstone. It's like I was like, am I gonna become a pro Hearthstone player? I don't know. And I or like improv, it's like I need to like get on a team, I need to take this bigger, I stopped doing improv. Some things that I'm not starting because it's not like a thing I want to take on, or I'm afraid of what it'll become, is like music, for example. Like I like to sing and I like to rap and stuff, and I like to write and make stuff with my friends, but I don't really want to turn it into anything because I know that it has a high potential to turn into one of those things. And whenever I even get close, like I'm thinking about it, using it a little bit with just sort of a crossover into some of my other stuff. It's like, ooh, and I have for Sad Boyz as well. Like it's like we've made like rap bits and stuff, and it's like, oh, whoa, Jarvis is like surprisingly good at rapping. And it's like, I know.
Don't tell me again.
Or like karaoke is like the place I get that out, and it's just for fun, and it's like just with friends, and then it's always people are like, well, have you ever been to karaoke with Jarvis? Like that just becomes a thing. And I like, that's at least not super intense, but the urge is like, why aren't I taking this further? And sadly, I like feel like I haven't really played a video game in like 3 years, and that used to be such a big part of my like life and identity. And similarly with television, I've barely watched TV in the past like year and a half, and it's very strange. Like, and I don't know why. It's almost as if the way that I value things is like whether or not they feel productive. And if TV doesn't feel productive, and if playing a game doesn't feel productive, then I can't bring myself to do it. I'm like, how is this going to benefit me?
Yeah.
Or like it feels like it's wasting time.
Right. It feels like it's wasting time, but it's like, no. You need specifically that.
Yeah.
You need to waste time. Yeah.
I sometimes find myself getting frustrated at the amount of sleep that I need.
Same.
Yeah.
I get jealous.
Plus, are you fucking kidding me?
So I know people who only need like biologically like 4 hours of sleep,
Infuriating.
and I'm like, fuck you.
How?
You're like you get to be a superhuman.
Yeah.
Like I'm so jealous, and now I have to work with this fucking 8-hour sleeping bullshit. Like it's not fair.
Like it gets to 11 p.m. and I'm like, oh, why am I so tired?
Yeah. If they're playing basketball and they're a foot taller, it's just like, oh, okay. I mean, I can really work on it and beat you, but that's such a huge advantage.
Yeah.
We're boxing and you have a gun. It's completely unfair.
Right, yeah.
I one of those for the longest time actually for me was music. I found music very compelling, and I was a drummer for many years, and I knew that I wanted to learn another instrument. I played guitar casually, and in the last year and a half or so, 2 years now actually, I learned piano and I got into production.
Right.
And I'm so glad that I did, because music operates in this weird in-between zone. Oh, the upside down. Am I right?
Sorry.
Pretty current, right?
That reminds me of this part about in season 2 of Stranger Things. Oh, yeah. Where they found Stranger Things.
And they were in Japan. Yeah, no.
They were hanging out as friends. Reminder, Tomodachi is the word for friend in Japanese.
But yeah, music for me operates in this space where for the longest time it was purely hobby. There was no practical element to it. It was fun to improve skills over time. One thing that I did drop was guitar. I stopped getting better at guitar because I knew that learning piano more robustly would be better for production. It's just easier to...
Right.
For me, I don't want to say for anyone, but we have a friend, Spencer, who's a spectacular songwriter. By trade is a guitarist. And for that reason, I don't want to judge it, but personally, I found it easier to write with piano, even really early on. So I just said, okay, I'm going to go down this track. In that way, I feel sad that I lost guitar, but at the same time, music has now become this thing that I can do for fun that still feels productive. It feels like I'm flexing my brain and improving my cognitive skills. Just it's lateral thinking a lot of the time.
Right.
And it's relaxing, depending on what you're producing. And now with the podcast I'm putting together, I'm writing all the music for it.
Yeah.
And so my very long-winded point here is that you can invest in things that may not seem instinctually valuable with the understanding that at some point further down the line, maybe you can utilize that skill. And even if not, what's the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
You watched a bunch of Let's Plays, you laughed, and it helps you get a better night's sleep.
Yeah.
For the 8 hours you require, Derek.
I would also say that like it's okay if it never is useful down the line, because I really admire people who have hobbies that are so specific that they can never have a wide application, because I would never commit to something like that.
Right.
And what you're learning is commitment. That alone is the good skill.
Like people who are like, I collect Brazilian Sega Genesis games, and I'm the expert on that. It's like the Sega Genesis is a dead console. This is a very specific country's thing, and I'm pretty sure that like Drew Scanlon, previous Sad Boyz guest, has interviewed somebody in one of the Cloth About videos about Brazil that like does that and like contributes to that community. And I'm just like, this is beautiful to me, because I would immediately go, this doesn't grow beyond this. I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like
there's no higher purpose to it, like something you can like push further. And
and it's like maybe you could like somehow like bring people together or in some capacity. But for me, I'm like, I feel like I need more, and I need to be contributing to growth in some way, and can be a toxic like instinct that I have. I just wanted to say in response to what you were saying, sometimes it will be useful down the line. I almost wish I was okay with things that have no chance of ever being useful down the line.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a good episode of Sad Boyz.
We do have fun.
We've been finding lately that a lot of our guest episodes will end with just sort of an exhale.
Yeah.
Everybody just goes like,
I'm glad we talked about that.
all right.
Yeah. It's just like, well, how anticlimactic would that be if we were just like, I'm glad we talked about that, and then the episode cuts off.
I would love that. That's unfortunately we have a brand and we have to remain consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't include this in the episode, but we're all about cash. This is why we have money. Focus on.
Which reminds me, this episode is sponsored by
Maverick Clothing.
I thought I had to pay to be on it.
Strangers. Well, don't let the cat out of the bag.
Wait, what is your t-shirt brand?
Well, it's funny you bring up the t-shirt brand, because that's one of the things.
That's very organic. Yeah, that'll make it look like we didn't plan it. That's good.
We cut out the part before that, so it's just like we exhale, and it's like, it's funny you bring up the t-shirt brand.
No, I was going to say that's one of the things that I feel like I've dropped off lately, because I have got so many projects on.
Right.
Wearing t-shirts, yeah.
Yeah, it's just too different.
It's the only one I have.
I also just work from home so much, it's like, what's the point?
No, it's just, I don't know. I figure I've got a finite amount of time, unfortunately, because I have to spend some of it sleeping. And I wasn't enjoying the whole process of like printing t-shirts and having an online store anymore. As much as I was my podcast. We've got a community that goes along with the podcast and my YouTube channel. And
what's that like?
Like, yeah, it just felt like maybe I shouldn't be trying to do the t-shirt company so much anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So stop asking me about it.
Okay, well, this is when we do socials. So where can people find your t-shirts?
Yeah. And now we want to double down. Charli is a t-shirt creator.
T-shirt design.
T-shirt designer.
That's your other podcast, right? You had 2 words, t-shirt design.
T-shirt design life.
Design shirt.
Shirt design for 5,000 episodes. And they switched to t-shirt design.
Charli, I have enjoyed hearing you on this podcast. I'm a listener now.
Oh, okay.
I'll do what voice should
And
I
I was
do?
here too.
What do your listeners sound like?
You could try and do a New Zealand accent. That would be fun.
Too easy. Give me a hard one.
You could try and do a New Zealand accent, and that'd be fun.
You sound pretty Australian.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm so good at Australian
Charli,
and
I
so
love
bad at New Zealand.
Getting you on the latest episode, and I would like to know where I can find you on social media.
Oh, you started well, but then you went South African.
This is my normal voice.
I need to develop some more depth.
Well, I should mention that the character that I'm playing, his father lives in New Zealand, but his mother does, in fact, live
Then you got it spot
in
on.
England.
Yeah. Oh.
Twist. Yeah, where can I get even more Charli if I'm interested?
Well, my YouTube channel is CharliMarieTV. That's where I make videos about design every week. And CharLi. No E.
Also, we're going to start a new YouTube series where Jordan learns to spell.
But URL, youtube.com/
Jordan.
7
It's your name.
Batman symbol.
Just spell your name.
Crayon symbol.
J12. That's 2 letters, 2 numbers.
CharliMarieTV.
Yep, that's my YouTube channel. I'm Charli Prangley on most socials, which is very unfortunate because it's a very hard last name to spell.
But if you're a really committed fan, you'll be able to find
You'll be
it.
able to find it. I guess go to charlimarie.com and then link to everything from there. That probably would have been the easiest.
You can also find
We'll
us
cut
that
out
way.
the- we'll cut out the rest.
You can
of
also go to charlimarie.com and you can find me.
it. But I'm not going to tell you where.
I'm not going to tell you where.
He's an Easter egg.
Yeah, see how many clicks away I am.
Yeah. Jarvis is actually the Clippy of your website. Are you looking for t-shirts?
Because that's all I care about here at charliMarieTV.com. CharliMarie.com, not CharliMarieTV.com.
Yeah, it's important. Alrighty. What if I just cannot bear to see any more Charli and I want some Jarvis?
Oh, well, if you just go to charlimarie.com.
Right. And you stay on the page long
you
enough.
stay on the page long enough, I will rappel down from the URL bar.
I'm picturing a photorealistic one.
Yeah, I rappel down. It's a mocap of me. And I go, hey, it's me, Jarvis. Are you
get
here
you
from
out of
the?
here.
Please, I start knocking on the screen. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Help me. You can also find me, just because that is a place you can find me.
Plus,
you can find me on Twitter at Jarvis and on YouTube, youtube.com/Jarvis Johnson. I'm on Instagram at Magic Jarvis. I need to get my Instagram followers up. I really want the guy who has at Jarvis on Instagram doesn't use their account and has never used their account.
outrageous.
So if anybody knows them,
And-
Jarvis Chin,
And
talk
can
to me.
source like hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You can get, not that you want to, but you can get more Jordan Cope at Jordan Adika, Adika, one word, on the Twitters, on the Instas, on the YouTubes.
If you can do me a favor, just tweet Jordan every day and remind him to post to social media.
Specifically Instagram. I'm trying to get good at Instagram. I did post both yesterday and today,
I know. I'm so proud
which is like
of you.
a 700% increase.
Yeah. Their servers are hot.
Yeah, that's popping off. I got over 100 likes on one of them. So
Stop. You're saying that a lot.
what do you mean?
He's very proud.
He's very
Well,
proud.
I'm gonna commit.
All right.
Maybe I'll overcommit. Who knows?
You become the biggest Instagrammer of all time.
That would be so. I would only do it for the meme,
And you hate Instagram.
and then I would delete Instagram because I think it would be funny. My app, the website.
Oh,
I would
right,
delete
yeah,
Instagram because of the
you get
influence.
so big that you'd own it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I would text Instagram. That's the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get rid.
Mr. Graham.
His,
yeah.
Insta is short for Instart. It's like Edward. Instart.
Yeah, sure. Just like
Okay.
Edward.
We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase. Instart. It sounds like you're saying something in reverse.
Instagram.
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 So we've been recently doing our ending phrase, which is "We love you and we're sorry," in song form, and we've kind of had a little array of different song genres.
It needs to be Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, it does. 3, 2, 1. We love you and we're sorry.
Yeah.
And sugar we're going down. Boom! Oh, thanks so much for joining us, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
That was fun.
That was so much fun.
I honestly like this podcast.